Hey everybody. I don't know if I can see anybody. They make this thing really weird. It's hard to see everybody. This is I'm Lid Shaw. This is Recording Studio Rockstars. We're back. Anybody who wants to watch this, you're welcome to. There you go.
Somebody joined. Yes.
PPs. How do I say your name? Pepes? Glad to see you here. How you doing? So yeah, we're just here chatting, hanging out, talking about the recording studio, and you know, answering any questions, or whatever. Boy, I wonder if that mic's getting caught up. Hey, G Forsamom. I'm sorry if I'm not saying that right. Glad you're here. People popping in, probably.
Oh man.
Laura Ann, how you doing? So, if anybody has any questions, just feel free to type them in. Jump right in. We're gonna start chatting about stuff from the studio. I'm Lid Shaw, and my site is Recording Studio Rockstars. So, if you got questions about recording music, making records, that's what we're all about. Hey, Seed 420. A lot of people jumping in.
Oh man, way more than last time.
Grammar, Skull. I can't pronounce everybody's names though, but glad you guys are here. So, fellas, what kind of questions you were talking about? Something you had a question?
Yeah, it's more about like how you like started out your studio and like got it, like built it and put it together and everything like that. Like,
okay.
How did you go about like building a client base first, or did you just know some other people or anything like that?
Well, I'd say pretty much like you guys, just start at the beginning. So, the first thing I did was I got out of school. I interned at a studio just like you guys are doing. Different studio. Mine's a smaller, more home-based studio. The one I was at was a pretty big commercial studio, and I just got to be around. But you know, like when you guys came here to intern, you had a sense that you might have a chance to be a little more hands-on, versus a place where you just got to answer the phones. I just got to answer the phones where I was. Although I did, hey, how you doing, guys?
Some hearts.
Hey.
So all I got to do was answer phones, but I also did get to learn some tech stuff. So it was a technical internship, so I was able to learn how to build cables and wires and, you know, wire up the studio. So we were doing stuff with soldering irons, you know, and working on soldering and that sort of thing. So that's what I learned a lot about at the internship, but I was never allowed in the studios. But, hey, we do, I'd say my favorite stuff to do here is probably like college indie rock. We do all sorts of stuff though. We do country music, rock music, Americana. We're in East Nashville, Tennessee, so a lot of music that's very acoustic and songwriter-based stuff. But thanks for the question. Keep hitting us up if you got more questions. This is, we got Hunter over here, Ryan over here, Ryan squared right here. It's hard to get everybody into the picture. I could turn it sideways, but I don't think that's going to look right for everybody else watching this. We should just do them all like this.
Kind of looks better.
Does that look better, or does that look totally weird like that?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
So, let's see. So I did the internship, and then when the internship was done, I didn't have a job. I didn't have a job in the studio. I didn't have any paid work for doing anything with what I knew about making records or you know, music. So I went and just delivered pizzas for a little bit.
Something.
Yeah. And then the last pizza I delivered, I totaled my car delivering the pizza. So that was a good sign that was the end of my pizza delivering career. And then I sort of like got out and pounded the pavement and just found some other studios. I found a studio that I really liked, that had, or I found a record that I really liked, and then I went to that studio and called them up, called up the studio, and randomly it happened to be a studio that was owned by the producers of the record. So I ended up, you know, like getting to meet these guys and speak to them. And that was a place over in Berry Hill called Alex the Great.
Okay.
Hey, anybody who's watching this, is this weird for it to be sideways, or is it better like this? All right, no comment. So Actually, you know what? I'm going to straighten it out because when we post this later,
Oh, true. Yeah.
probably better like that. We just need to all sit back here. So I was at that studio for a while and assisted and got some really good gigs doing being an assistant engineer on some records. I think the first record I got a real assisting job over there was a band called June that was out of North Carolina. It was a really cool indie rock thing. And then one of the record that they did over there that got me so excited was this artist named Jill Sobule. And it was just a super cool record called, actually I think the title of the album, I can't remember if the title was the single, but the single was called I Kissed a Girl. And it was not Katy Perry. Katy Perry ripped off her title and wrote a new one. Yeah. So this is a song that was all over the radio, probably 10 years before Katy Perry was on the radio.
Okay.
So there you go, the original I Kissed a Girl. And so I was at that studio for a while, and then I started getting a chance to work on some records and meet people and just do stuff there, and slowly started accumulating bits of gear for my studio. And then finally in 2000 is when I moved over here, and I just put the studio in the house.
Okay.
And just started like that. So just one little step at a time. It's not like you just go like,
Yeah, it's just full force, just right at it.
I'm going to just do everything all at once.
Okay.
And then you just start like building it up. The studio here, I designed it and installed it in 2007, and so it was it was me deciding that I wanted to like finally have a studio that was legit and not just in my house, and I wanted to have a real dedicated space for it and everything.
Okay.
So that's what that's all about, and then I guess it's going on almost 10 years here now.
Cool.
Nice.
But I will say that as soon as I built a studio and built a dedicated place to work and a really dedicated functioning space, everything changed. So like everything just got more serious and intentional, and all of a sudden when I was making records with clients, it wasn't like, hey, I'm making a record and it's cool, we're making a record at your house, to like we're making a record in a real studio.
Okay. All right.
So it's definitely worth having a dedicated space for working in it.
Okay. And then how did what kind of places did you go around networking to build a client base? Was it just like word of mouth kind of stuff, or?
Yeah, it's always been very word of mouth. I've never really figured out any kind of a magic bullet for making work happen as far as being a recording studio or being a producer and producing records. I do think that it's definitely word of mouth, and I think that the best way I ever hear about is still always just going out and being around bands, musicians, just being around the music scene, and being around people that are making records and just getting to know people.
Yeah.
And then if you're going to start, we had an incoming call. Apparently, an incoming call does not destroy your Periscope session. Starting out, I think getting like a minimal recording setup, having a mic and a laptop and an interface, and figuring out what kind of software you want to work with. That's kind of all you need, and then you just start. So like if you're really thinking about the beginning, I think the answer is just start making records. I mean, you've been doing it. You make them in your bedroom. That's right. You guys know who Rick Rubin is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know where he started?
College
bedroom. College dorm room,
How's it going?
What's up, Seiji? Dude, you're just in time for a Periscope session.
A Periscope session?
Yeah, you're live. Live to the world right now. Come wave and say hi. There might be 2 people watching this from somewhere around the world. 2 live viewers, yeah.
Woo-hoo.
Nice. All right, so I don't know how to turn that off. Oh well. There we go.
Okay.
Seiji, come stand over there, man, so that the world can see you. Seiji, what advice do you have for people who are trying to get started in recording? If the question is, how do you build a client base when you're just at your beginning? What's the answer to that?
Drink lots of coffee. Get coffee with everyone, as many people as you can, I think, and know how to get people's orders right, I think.
No, how to get their orders right? You mean like, as in become a barista and serve them coffee?
Oh, no, I just mean like being able to like assist and then get everyone lunch and be the person that they go, oh yeah, he totally got my sandwich order right.
Right.
That's true. So if you can get into a studio and start interning right away, then just do a really kick-ass job. We can say kick-ass on Periscope, right?
Yeah.
And then people remember you as being thorough. I think that's really important, is being thorough. People notice that.
Okay.
Cool. People have different things that are important to them. Like some people will be, certain details will be important, and to other people, something about the vibe will be important.
Yeah.
So you'll work with somebody, and like the fact that you know a lot about really good vapes is going to be really important to them. It depends. Everybody's different.
Totally.
All right, cool.
I don't know. That's good. What should we chat about today?
Anything you guys?
Hey, any of our 2 viewers, you got any questions? We're ready. We got all the answers. Maybe not.
Which has all the answers.
So, let's see. Let's ask Seiji some questions.
I don't know if I have many answers.
Tell us about, Seiji, let's ask you this question. What, if you had to choose one microphone, what would you choose? What would you want to record with?
For everything?
Yeah, let's say you had one microphone. Does it even matter?
No, probably not like a small diaphragm condenser. But maybe anything else could probably make work for just about anything.
What about an SM57?
57's pretty good. I've used it on almost everything. I love it.
Yeah,
It's
I
a good
think I
mic.
have too. Definitely use it on vocals, bass, guitars,
Amazing overhead.
drums, yep.
Yeah.
I know a guy who regularly uses just, I think, 1 or 2 57s at the ceiling above the drums, and that's all he uses for his drum sounds.
We did a lot of that for the Night Beds record. Just a 57 for an overhead.
Nice. Well, I guess we're kind of out of questions today. I don't know. These guys don't seem to have much. They're not curious much about making records
Wait, I want to know
anymore.
about frequency-based compression. Like, how do you set that up exactly?
Frequency-based compression.
Like, if you had like a bass and you wanted to let just like 200 hertz or whatever and below pass uncompressed.
All right, so I got a good answer for that. Right now, there's a DAW called PreSonus Studio One, and the newest version, version 3, is kind of hip because it actually has parallel processing in each channel. So if you have a bass part and you have a bass track and you put an insert on that bass track in the DAW, then you can double click on it, it'll open up, and you can actually route it so you can have the signal come in and then it splits out and goes through different compressors and then comes back together. So instead of just putting one compressor on the bass, you can split it, and then you can split it at different frequencies. You can actually move the filter over so that it's filtering 200 hertz and above, and leave one side totally uncompressed and everything above 200 hertz totally compressed. So that's one way to do it. That's a pretty easy
pretty
way,
cool, yeah.
all in one, built in.
Or like a de-esser, too. It's essentially the same thing.
Oh, really?
All right.
Seiji, explain, elaborate.
Oh. Well, I mean, a de-esser is basically a multi-band compressor that is only one band, and it's usually a higher band, so you can, drag your threshold to wherever you want it to be for your high frequencies, and then set your roll-off at, if you want it to be like 1K or something, so you're getting kind of any of the finger noises and clicks and pops and stuff. It'll pull those down the way it would with S's and T's and P's, but it'll essentially leave your low end intact. It's kind of the same thing. But
That's pretty awesome. I've never actually used a de-esser on a bass before.
it's pretty cool. I mean, it's just it's essentially just a multi-band compressor. You kind of have to just make sure. Some of them are actually frequency dependent, so they have like a top end where they won't let anything above that point go through also, and so sometimes that can be problematic if you don't know where those two like crossovers are. It'll let some like really high-end squeaky things come through if you're squeezing it really hard. But most of them, especially like the stock Pro Tools de-esser, is just like a single shelf. So like it'll even show you visually where like the high end will just kind of dip down. You can set that wherever you want it, and that helps quite a bit.
Cool.
Sweet. You heard it. You heard it here first on Recording Studio Rockstars. You guys got any other questions about that? Sideband frequency-based compression. It's pretty good.
That's a good question.
It's complex stuff. I have to confess that a lot of times I've like experimented with all the most complicated shit I can think of, and I almost always default back to just like, it just sounds great if you just keep it real simple, you know?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, anyway, we'll let everybody see the beautiful sky. Here we are in East Nashville, sitting outside the studio at the picnic table. There's the studio right there. Shameless promo.
Should have worn my t-shirt.
There's everybody. Hunter, Ryan Squared, Seiji, whatever. Peace. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow for coffee time Q&A or something like that. Later.